Hello viewers and welcome to another edition of the On The Spot Saying It As It Is. As always, it is Chernoge and Mariama Danso in the studio with you, and I have Pap and Mansoor as the technician in the house. Now I have not mentioned their names over the past few episodes. I would like to appreciate them because the only reason this show is going on is because of their expertise, is because of their technical know-how. So Mansoor and Pap, thank you very much for being on the technical side. Danso, welcome to another edition of the On The Spot.
Thank you. Hello viewers, good morning to you all. Welcome to On The Spot Saying It As It Is, and it's always a pleasure being here to serve the entire nation and the people in large.
All right. This week has been a very interesting week, and we have a lot of interesting things in store for you. We would actually love to know what you think about these things because they are trending issues, they are happening in the society, and everybody has questions and answers are required. We are here to provide some of those answers, but we also would like you to share with us what you think and what you found out about these interesting topics. But before even moving forward, we would like to read some of the few comments that we had on the previous episodes. That is some of the things that people think about, the things that we talked about in the previous episodes. And here are a couple of comments from our comment section. Now, as I said, there are always hundreds of comments on the comment section, so we will not be able to read all of them, but we will do our best to read a couple of them. Done so?
Just to start from one Mark Brook, who said, there's nothing wrong with building a bridge actually between Bara and Banjul, but I see how people struggle to cross that sea, but I don't buy the idea of building mosques. He could have used that money to improve on our health sector. This is a comment that was made by Mark Brook.
Mariam Juf is saying misplaced priorities, right? How about healthcare, coastal erosion, sand mining, environmental degradation? They are sickening to the core. I agree with you, Mariam Juf. I think our priorities need to be reprioritized. Moving on, Danso.
This other one from Mariam Juf is reading, leadership in Gambia always demonstrated lack of ethical code of conduct. Alaji
Madi Jatanjai is saying that is it. The healthcare system should be prioritized because a healthy nation is a wealthy nation.
One Jibril Peace Mbala is saying, before President think of doing a bridge Banjul Bara, let him think of our basic needs like electricity, water, medicine, foodstuff that are very expensive, you name it.
I think these are basically what we have for you on the comment section. These are some of the opinions and comments that people had to say about some of the issues we discussed on our previous episode. But as I said, we cannot read all the comments, so we will just have to move on with some of the interesting stuff we have for you people today. Dan, so what are some of the interesting headlines we have for this episode?
Yes, I think this week has been a very much tense week when you look at the political and the social dimension of Gambia. We are going to start with social security at war with their new managing director. That is Mr. How to call it, Mohamed Manjang, who is into trouble with the staff that wants him to resign. From there also we are going to look into the case of the magistrate of Basse, that is Omar Jabang, and his GDC case and how he acquitted the case. And then from there we're also going to look at Barrow's statement that he made in Brikama with regards to the issue of street lights and then making sure that the people of Brikama has Wi-Fi and hotspot in order to get their lives moving on. And then from there also we are going to look into the debt that the Gambia owes other nations and how best this and issues and how can this affect our lives as common people in this Gambia. And coming to look at also how one of the majority leaders into the former regime, that is the APRC regime, who is no other person but Sidin Jai, made comments on the fact that Barrow Youth for Development is not actually a problem when it comes to his side.
We call it cross-carpeting. Sidin Jai is cross-carpeting, but we will come to that story later. Social Security has a new managing director, that is Mohamed Manjang. Now, Mohamed Manjang of recently have actually had a lot of issues with the staff at the Social Security and Housing Finance because he swore to get rid of all form of corruption and unnecessary benefits for staffs. This is something that the staff of the Social Security and Housing Finance are not welcoming at all. If you have been following the news, recently Mamadou Kamara led some of the staff and they went actually in front of the State House demanding that Mr. Manjang should resign. Mr. Manjang refused to resign, and this week, you will not believe it, but he found juju in his office on his very set. I think this is something that is really dangerous. This is something that is really very controversial, and we need to talk about it because it actually brings out the rate of corruption that we have in this country.
I think at some point it's going to be very much disappointing if a group of staff in a social security, housing and finance company that is an institution, a national institution, would want to put juju into the director's office just to get him off when they could have used legal means to get him out. I think at some point it's really unethical for them to use juju to put it into, because it does not tell well. It does not tell well when you use juju to put it into somebody's office. What are you trying to tell the public?
I mean, that's not the only thing. I think, to me, it shows the level of corruption we have in our institutions. You know, if a guy like that, you know, he have been making a lot of reforms, but these are reforms that the people are not welcoming. And they went to the extent of going to State House to demand that the man resign. Okay, but he refused to resign. And a lot of the members of the public are actually showing solidarity with the man, because this is what we need. We need institutional reforms. We need leaders who are capable, competent, and not afraid to make changes happen, even if it is going to make other people angry.
And then another issue also with the issue of Momodu Kamara, that is the guy that led this.
Yes.
We have workers' union here. We have other institutions that are here for the welfare of Gambian civil servants.
Yes.
So if you feel like your rights have been limited, or there are problems in the institutions, use legal means, like get to talk to the workers' union or maybe an institution that could help you. But you don't use juju and this concussion and spiritual issues to go get somebody out. It does not tell well. So if you have problems with a particular managing director in an institution, I think the best you can do is to get to the legal body that is responsible for your welfare.
I believe there are ways that there are ways in
there
which
could have been better ways of getting
ways
out.
of resolving this issue. As of now, actually, we don't know exactly who put the juju there, but it is clear that it is among the very staff of Social Security and
another
Housing
issue,
Finance.
if you have problems with the ways or the policies that he's making, bring it to the public. Let people know that A and B is what Mohamed Manjang is doing, and we don't like it because it's to the detriment of the entire staff of Social Security.
Well, so far I agree with the reforms. If he's going to get rid of corruption, let him do it at whatever cost. And Mohamed Manjang, change is not easy, and this kind of things are not easy. People will be against you, especially those who will be affected by your decisions. But know that the Gambian public and me and a lot of other people out there are supporting you and are behind you, and we are happy to see that leaders like you exist in this country. Moving forward, another hero that we have in this country this week is Magistrate Omar Jabang of the Basse Magistrates Court. If you have been following some of his activities, this did not just happen recently. He has been doing this even during Jammeh's time. But what you need to know is recently he accused Alaji Sow, who is the National Assembly member for Jimara, and 3 other members of the GDC political party in his court. They were accused of post-election violence. If you've been following it, a couple of things happened after the National Assembly election, and Alaji Sow was accused with 3 other members of the GDC, and they were brought before the Basse Magistrate Court. The presiding magistrate, Omar Jabang, accused and discharged them on the fact that there was insufficient evidence for the case. This is something that even the Minister of Justice actually came to comment about, and I think it's commendable, and right now a lot of Gambians are actually talking about what he has done.
And then this is what we actually voted for. Like when you look at it, we talked about transparency, we talked about free trials, and then they've been there for long, and then there's not enough evidence to get them convicted by law. I think it is just for them to be released or acquitted from the charges that were made against them. And then we really want to commend Omar Jabang and all the other legal practitioners in this country who are doing just to such cases as well.
Exactly. Omar Jabang, actually, this is not the first time. During Jammeh's time, he actually accused and discharged the former ombudsman. He also accused and discharged a businessman by the name of accused and discharged a businessman by the name of Yusufa Seidi. This was also during Jammeh's time. This put him on the Jammeh's radar. He even actually had to flee the country for his life. He is a very amazing young man, and he's actually a very young man. He's not that much old. So this is the kind of thing we need to see in our people. We need to see leaders coming out, making drastic and meaningful decisions that are geared towards protecting the rights of the people and fostering development in this country. I think that is an achievement in the legal sector.
And another issue also would have to be, this has to be an eye-opener to all the political parties that we have in the country, for them to take up responsibilities, most especially about their militants, and when it comes to elections or after elections, to stay off violence by all means possible as well.
Exactly. And then moving on, we have a very interesting story that I think Gambia need to talk about. That is the debt of this country. How much debt is the Gambia in right now. We're talking about development, we're talking about millions and billions of dollars, but do you know how much debt the country is in? This is a report. This report is actually by Alaji Rajalo, and I'm going to read it to you. Currently, as we are speaking right now, IMF lists the Gambia's debt at 99% of our GDP. That is 881 million US dollars. Now, 54% of this is owed to other countries and international organizations, and 46% is owed within the country to private creditors. The total debt of the country right now stands at 1.9 billion US dollars, and the government is expected to borrow a supplementary amount of nothing less than 2 billion US dollars. If this is to continue for the next 5 years, the country will owe 1.2 trillion dollars in debt.
Wow.
1.2 trillion dollars in debt. My question is, can the country ever repay that kind of debt?
Even 7 generations after us, I don't think such an amount can easily be cleared off Gambia's name.
So probably my grandchild and great-grandchildren will have to be paying, millions of dollars before this debt is repaid. So therefore, I think that is why we need to look at some of the choices that the government is making. This is why when we sit here, we talk about some of the priorities that the government is making. Where are they putting our money into? If our country is at debt at this level right now, and we are looking at the prospect of how much we'll be in debt in the next 5 years, this is scary. Okay, this is why we need the government to prioritize the most important things in this country. Misplaced priorities will only plunge us into further and further, having to borrow more money from other people, and that will put us more in debt, and then it will be very difficult. No country in the world has ever been developed on debt. I have not seen one. Okay, every country that is developed will have to find ways to make money on their own. People do borrow, countries borrow money, but this level, a country like the Gambia, looking at how small we are and how much natural resources we don't have, and where our economy is stemmed on, this is really a huge amount looking at the debt, because it is not even 100%. We are at 120% debt. 120%. That is scary. So the public, we think this is something that we really need to look into, and this is something that we think the government need to consider, which is why we are concerned about them prioritizing their issues, where they need to put the money in this country, which is why people are questioning about some of the choices that Barrow have been making recently. As I said, the story is from Alaji Jalo. You can check it out on Facebook. Moving on, Danso, what do we have? With
the issue of the misplaced priority, a lot of noise have been made recently, most especially about the 60 mosques that Barrow pledges to build around the country, like all over the place. It is all over the place. You go on WhatsApp, Facebook, places, Twitter, people are actually talking about it, because most people feel the money that is being used to build this, this mosque should have been used in other sectors of the country that has to do with maybe healthcare, the security, education, and all that. So, and then when you look at it as well, this country is a secular nation. Gambia is a secular state. So, in as much as some people are arguing that the money is not from the government coffers, it's an ECOWAS project and all that. But then government lobby.
Saudi project, I think.
It's a Saudi project. Governments lobby for issues. So if Barrow at some point, because most people think it's a political motive, because he's a Muslim, we've seen the audio that was recently sent by a pastor who made claims about the issue of politicians using religion as a backing in order to get their things done. So in order for such to happen, when we talk about secular nation, what happened to the other population of the Gambia that are Christians? You're not catering for them. And then recently we've seen what Mahdi Jabati and the others are talking about. That is the issue of public toilets, and people argue the fact that when you talk about mosques, you have public toilets in the mosques, and then it's open to all people. But then, yeah.
I think moving on, I think what Mahdi Jabati said is that instead of public, having 60 mosques, how about the president build 60 toilets?
Yes.
But I think the point here is this. We saw Jammeh do the same thing. You know, in every public institution, including the State House, Jammeh built a mosque. And this is something that people kept criticizing under. What really surprises me is the fact that Barrow is repeating almost everything Jammeh did. Are you seeing the picture?
I follow.
Yeah, this is what concerns me. And you know, there are a lot of comments on Facebook and all over the social media. Some of the comments we just read in the beginning, you had some people saying, what about the issue of the 60 mosques? We don't agree with it. Some people are saying it is Islamic, and anybody who is speaking against it is not a believer. You will burn in hell, issues like that. The country
religion
doesn't belong to Muslims alone.
And
I understand the issue of the secularity of the state is even debatable because the section that talked about the Gambia being a secular state have been contested in court and have been declared null and void, though it has not been removed from the Constitution of the Republic of the Gambia. So people can debate about the secularity of the state. But does the president have the right to do what he did? It doesn't matter where the project came from. We have Christians in this country. And the most amazing thing, to build a mosque, you don't have to register anywhere. Do you know that if you want to build a church in this country, you have to register for it?
Now that is serious.
So what happened to equality? What happened to freedom? What happened to liberty? What happened to everything that we fought for Jammeh when Jammeh left? What happened to all these songs we've been singing and all the praises we've been praising and everything we've been celebrating for?
And then we voted for change. Actually, this was one of the issues that were raised. If building a mosque is free, you don't need to get certain documents in order. I see no reason why building a church
you have to register.
You have to register in order for you to get license to carry on with your daily activities.
It's a big question and it's a concern, and I believe we need to look into all these issues. So moving on, as we said, let's talk about the cross-carpeting.
It is interesting.
This is more than interesting.
Yes.
If you've been following the news, not even now, but when Jammeh was here, the shortest serving minister we ever had in this country is Sidi Njai. I think he was made the minister of communication and all that during, just for days when Jammeh said he wasn't going to step down. So he was a minister for a couple of days, okay, the shortest serving minister. And we will actually show you a video of the statement he made claiming that the president was right to reject the 2016 presidential election results.
Over 25,000 people who have petitions the elections through the Kanifing Municipal Council's mayor with 5,000 KMC, His Excellency the President about 20,000 plus, and we have also seen the APRC also file in a petition before the court, and the law is very clear. Section 49 indicates that the Supreme Court is the only court that can validate the results, and as a party we recognize our rights to go to court, and that His Excellency is the President of the Republic of the Gambia.
After standing in with the then President for rejecting the results, saying that they will go to court and all that, can you believe that Sidi Njai came back this week and even said that Barrow's Youth for Development, there's nothing wrong with that, even though people are against it. A lot of people, not everybody, but a lot of people are saying that the Barrow Youth for Development is a replica of the Green Youth of Yaya Jammeh.
Yeah.
Okay? But Sidi Njai is saying there's nothing wrong with the Barrow Youth for Development. What do you have to say about that?
I think we have, it's not bad to cross carpet, most especially. But then when it comes, look at something that is as sensitive as politics, and then we still have Jammeh loyalists that recently a leaked audio was all over the place, and right now Sidi Njai is claiming to have this support and then having this compliment for Barrow
and all that.
All of a sudden, the sudden change in his way of doing things is really questionable. He has the right as a citizen to join any political
party he wants. That's not the question. Yeah.
But then before Jammeh left, you were here, you talked about Jammeh staying and all that, you commended his work.
He even went to Equatorial Guinea. Don't forget that. Sidi Njai went with Yaya Jammeh to Equatorial Guinea.
And then he came back, and now you're trying to support Barrow and then complimenting his Barrow Youth for Development when you know it's practically a replica of what was happening here with the Green Youth. So I think people like Sidi Njai are opportunists, and then
he's trying to find an opportunity to survive, I think. He's trying to fit in somewhere. Now, I am not saying Sidi Njai, like me and every other Gambian, has the right to express his opinion about whatever is going on in this country. He has the right to side with any political party he wants in this country, support anyone he wants, okay? But sometimes, some of the comments you make, looking at the timing and the issue in question, it is about the context in which he said what he said.
And we were all here. We are all a witness to what has happened.
Exactly. And we all know some of the things that he have been saying previously and all that. So all of a sudden, he is all about whatever Barrow says or does is right, it's okay, we're going to go with it. This is something that I don't think is, it's not ethical, in my own opinion, and it's not trustworthy. Now, what will happen is this. People will be questioning the credibility of Sidi Njai whether he's credible to ever hold a public office or public office or vie for public office. Okay, let's say in the next 5 years Sidi Njai decides to run for something. People will be like, hey, that is the guy who crossed carpets. Okay,
and green,
he can turn to green anytime, black, yellow, or orange at any single time. So for your own good, Sidi Njai, I think you need to be steady, you need to be stable, you need to be consistent with the choices and some of the things that you do.
Yeah,
I would like it if you can have one single color color, but you know, jumping from blue, yellow, green, and orange is really not good. It's bad for you.
Still on the Barrow and his tour and everything related to what he's doing, we've seen a lot of noise also created with the issue of the billboards that are going around the country with captions and some of them with grammatical errors and all that. So I think as a nation also we need to really look into it, because when Jammeh was here, he was almost everything. Jammeh was called the builder, people call him Babili Mansa and all that. And recently I'm hearing people calling, how to call it, Barrow, Jammeh and Billy Mansa, which means they're trying to bring up all these titles and stuff again because they're making him feel like it's really that irrelevant. And when you look at the billboards, one of the justifications that were made is the fact that it's a belief that he's trying to show the nation of what he is doing. That is like the projects that he's into and how to implement it. But then other people argue the fact that they could have still had the billboards. We are not against it. But why should his picture or image be there if it is to tell people the services and the projects that the president or the government is into?
You know, we said this, you know, we talked about this in the previous episode. This is it. Yaya Jammeh didn't wake up one day and became Yaya Jammeh. We grew him, you know. He was like a plant. We planted him, we started watering him, putting manure, and then he became so big we couldn't control him anymore. And I'm telling you, the same thing is happening right now. We're growing Barrow, we are grooming him. Actually, this is something that is going to be, our last topic that we're going to discuss is the fact that Barrow fired back at the diasporans and then the people criticizing him on the social media and all that kind of stuff.
Bari Gambian ko si hakilo to back. Nana Gambia biji kan ko wegi tawolo. Bari mol ben na society ko me alon ko ka mol la hakilo jakasi. Na ko ko do wala kan ma me kanaro wegi to kana de ko mini. Mol lo me alon ko news jawo ke baru wala. Ko mi bukale kan ko me nga ci bara tan wegi to ne ko kan kan. Mol yo me alon ko man la fi Gambia la Cairo la. Bukale kan ko ku bamu Cairo de mo. Ni ko mo men fo ya yelmandi ya yelmandi pour ay tinya pour Gambia ita ko.
When we voted for change, you know, the most important pillars of democracy is freedom of speech. Yes. So if you are firing back at people for criticizing you as a president, then what message are you sending? Every single president in this world is criticized. Even Yaya Jammeh was criticized, just not openly. Yes. People criticize him. So if Barrow is saying that he's the one who brought us freedom, he's the one who brought us democracy, and he is now firing back at the people criticizing him, what kind of president is he trying? What kind of message is he trying to send? No, it is unethical.
And then on the issue of the diaspora and people as well, most of the people that most educated, like you sit with most professionals from outside the country, they will tell you, I meet with Gambian intellects outside this country that are really doing good into other countries. You ask them to come back, they will simply tell you, I cannot because of the system that was here. So one thing Barrow should have done is to see how best he can. Because I see this post of someone saying Barrow actually had to beg them to come back and work for their own country. And now he made this statement. He should have seen how best to provide room for these Gambian intellects that are outside Gambia, so they can come back and we see how best to develop the nation. When you look at it, almost every house in Gambia has 1 or 2 people that are not in this country, and they are sending money. And when you look at it, most Gambians, how to call it, depend on foreign aids and foreign money from their relatives outside on remittances. So if you as the president is condemning this group of people that helped, and when you look at it also, people in the diaspora actually helped a lot to get Jammeh out.
No. Let's get it straight. Let's get it straight. What happened is this: during the 2016 after the presidential election and during the political impasses, what happened is this: Barrow ran away and went to Senegal. Remember that? I was here. I didn't went anywhere. We were here trying to against Jammeh, wearing the Gambia has decided T-shirt. He was lying down in Senegal. You understand? We went to the radio shows. We spoke out. We had the youth convergence. Do you understand? Young people gathered. Over 200 young people gathered. I was one of them. We talked about these issues. Alifa Saleh came out, spoke. Only a few number of people were here fighting. A lot of people, over 12,000 people left this country. Barrow was one of them. Do you understand? People like us were here, the ordinary individuals, fighting over these issues. And now, then on social media, Barrow commended the effort of the people in the diaspora.
Yes.
He commended the efforts of the people fighting on social media. Do you understand? If he is coming back now to retake his statement, now firing back at those people, saying there are people who are trying to incite violence or trying to jahase the Gambian people. Sorry for using that word. You know, we speak well of. That is something that we cannot handle. Okay. if he is talking about democracy, he has to be able to tolerate and handle the criticism that the people are saying against him. I think what he should use the criticism for is he should use it as a feedback and try to see where he can improve on.
Yes.
We don't expect him to satisfy everyone.
That cannot
okay, but if majority of the country is complaining against one thing, Barrow, you need to look at that thing.
Yes.
Okay, and let me tell you one thing. One thing that the people of this country are not ready to do anymore is go back to dictatorship.
No.
We have been there. We have been there, we have done that, and it is terrible, and we are not going back. So, Mr. President, I am telling you, from my own point of view, and I am sure I'm speaking for a lot of Gambians right now, that you cannot muffle our voices. We will speak out. We will criticize. When you make a decision that we believe is wrong, we will talk about it. When you make priorities that we believe are misplaced, we will talk about it. Exactly. So, our freedom of speech is something that we'll express. So, you will have to handle it. If you can't handle it, well, find another way, because we will talk. Yes, and then moving on.
Brikama statement.
Yes, I think that, let's talk about one of the good things that Barrow did.
Yeah, I think he should be commended for it. My own personal take, actually, and that of the most other concerned Brikama people, and not only Brikama,
everybody in the country.
Barrow was responding to a claim or a statement that was made by a lady in Brikama. That is with the issue of how the street lights could help ease some of the security threat that they are facing in Brikama. Just recently, if you've seen in Brikama, a guy was stabbed and killed to death, and he was not the only one. A lot of instances of stealing, attacking people, and all of that issue are happening in Brikama. But not only in Brikama, but this was one of the issues that was raised in Brikama. So in responding to this statement, the President of the Republic pledged that there is a project that is already in time, that is with the issue of 5,000 street lights that would be distributed within the length and breadth of the country.
Okay.
And then when you look at the street lights also, they would have Wi-Fi and hotspot that would have CCTV cameras that could help the police in order for them to do their work easily. But then I think this at some point has been misinterpreted by some people
I think that is
country.
it has been misinterpreted. A lot of people are like, Barrow is providing Wi-Fi hotspot for Brikama. What kind of thing is that? Barrow is not providing Wi-Fi hotspot for Brikama. What is happening is this. A woman, Lady Councillor, asked that street light be brought back because it will help ease the crime rates and prevent a lot of crimes in Brikama. And Barrow told him there was already a project to provide over 5,000 street lights across the country. He also said that the World Bank will fund for the provision of 2,000 more street lights with bulbs that will save 75% energy. So this is really something good. But what people don't understand is this. The street lights are going to come with CCTVs, and these CCTVs will have Wi-Fi hotspot internet. Yes. Okay, so the public will be able to have access to this internet. But the internet is not provided purposely for the people of Brikama.
For the luxury of people to just browse.
Exactly. Yeah. It is there for the CCTV cameras, and then this will also help make work easier for the police. So I think it's a good move.
And you can make reference to certain problems. Most cases, people would do stuff and then they will go scot-free, because in Gambia we don't have that advanced technology when it comes to CCTV cameras being disposed on streets, so that when something happens you can easily make reference to these cameras and get the culprits of the problems.
Exactly.
They easily go scot-free because there is nobody to video or do anything. So if we have these street lights with these CCTV cameras that are there, and the Wi-Fi is purposely for that, but then people, it's still open to people for them to do their day-to-day activities with regards to the internet. I think it's going to help the police in easing their work. I think President Barrow should be commended for that, because that is a wise decision.
Uncle Barrow, it's a thumbs up from me. Yeah. I'm saying job well done. Now we don't have much time. We have about 3 minutes before the end of the show. So we just have one more thing to talk about. That is, Barrow gave a very lame justification for the Barrow Youths for Development. A very lame justification. Now, in a speech he was making in Buyam, what he said is this. He said the Barrow Youths for Development are a group of young people that are committed to helping him foster national development. And he said his justification is that he will embrace any group of young people that is ready to work with him. Now, what people are saying is this. If that is it, then there is no need to have a group or Barrow Youth for Development organization, because every Gambian is ready to work with him to develop this country. Why don't we just work together without having to name a particular group that is owned by the president? Because the issue of the Barrow Youth for Development is really raising a lot of concerns. We have seen the comments from a lot of people. I have only seen a few number of people that are saying there's nothing wrong with it. Sidinjai included, Mr. Cross Carpet. Mr. Cross Carpet, yes. But apart from that, a lot of people are against the idea, and I believe they are right. If he is ready to embrace any number of young people, any group, any organization, then there is no need for us to have a group or an organization, because every single Gambian is ready to work to to develop this country. So I believe what Barrow should do is dissolve the Barrow Youths for Development, and then let him embrace everybody. Okay?
Or maybe if this are a group of young people that feel they want to work with the government, it's okay. We welcome such things, but then institutionalize it should not have been made by, like, it should not have had his own name attached to it. It can be an institution under the National Youth Council, or maybe something, or the National Youth Service Scheme, or maybe Minister of Youth and Sport.
Exactly.
But not directly saying Barrow Youth for Development. It's more or less the same with the Green Youth, because they are practically doing the same.
It is too possessive.
Yes.
As far as I'm concerned, it is too possessive, and it is something that we believe needs to change. On that note, I think we have actually exhausted our time, and we are happy to have been here. And to our viewers, we really commend you, and then we commend you for actually taking your time to not just view, but also share your ideas and opinions on our comment section. And I want you people to understand that the things we say here are things we pick up on social media, so we try as much as possible, we make sure our sources are authentic. But if we have said anything that is offline or slightly not accurate, we apologize, because we are people and we are not perfect at all. On the note, we thank you for your time, we thank you for your appreciation. And today, my stars in the studio, my best stars, the people, my warmest appreciation goes to the technicians and camera guys in the room with me. Pap is my guy. Pap, thank you very much. And Mansoor, they're amazing. They're really amazing, easy to work with. They're professional, they're experts, and we love them and appreciate their time, appreciate their efforts. Yeah, thank you very much. Done so?
Well, thank you very much to all the people that will take their time to comment on the show. It is really helping us, so we know our faults as well. And then if you have any complaints, suggestions, or contributions that you want to make towards the success of the show, you can send in your comments on the spot. And then also we thank everybody that spend their time to watch. Like Chano would say, we are only young people here, and everything that we say is strictly related to social media, nothing of our own, and there's nothing personal, everything strictly professional. My thanks and congratulations will go to Mansoor, who is my friend in the studio. But for Pap, I'm sorry, I'm not going to say anything, because
Pap is my guy.
You know already. We are anti to each other. So Pap, I'm not saying thank you to you, but Mansoor, thank you very much for the support.
All right, thank you. See you next week on the spot, saying it as it is. State of the nation. Uncle Barrow, have a good weekend.
Gizna